Well, hey guys, good Monday to you. Hope you're having a great day. We've got some active weather over the next couple of days. The weather pattern definitely is changing, and we're starting to see the severe weather threat move into different areas. We saw that yesterday into the Northeast, and I think we see it again today across the plains, the northern plains, and then into the upper Midwest as we head into the afternoon. And then into Tuesday, that threat shifts a little bit further to the south. This active weather pattern looks like it stays in place. As long as we have this trough here in the east, I think we stay busy. And some of these areas could use some rain, especially here into the mid-Atlantic and into the southeast. It's been several weeks, in some areas close to a month, since rain has fallen. So we're getting pretty parched in some of these areas. High pressure still holding on out west through the week. Some cool air, though, tries to work into the Pacific Northwest as we head toward the end of the week, and that may actually set us up for another severe weather event here toward the end of the week across the plains. Something to keep an eye on at this point. Let's talk about the short term, because the severe risk is there across the northern plains, all the way down into parts of Illinois, Iowa, even into Nebraska, as far west as the Dakotas, even down here into parts of Kansas. Some of these could get strong into the afternoon. And then also watch eastern North Carolina and South Carolina. What's left of our front that's moved to the east could fire up some storms this afternoon. Some of those could get really strong. Damaging winds, that's the big threat, especially right here in the parts of Wisconsin and Minnesota. Storm Prediction Center has hashed out this area right here for the potential for at least a significant chance of seeing some strong damaging winds. Even a few tornadoes can't be ruled out. Not a super high threat, but again, I say it all the time, it's not a zero threat either. Tomorrow, Tuesday, that threat shifts to the south. So now we're looking at a higher threat here from central Michigan back into Chicago, Iowa, down into Missouri and Illinois once again. And look, even further to the south, I think as the evening progresses, these may actually move closer to the Ohio River and even as far west as Kansas, Nebraska, potentially parts of Oklahoma, although again, the biggest threat would be right in here as we head into Tuesday. A few tornadoes can't be ruled out either, with some wind shear setting up with that change of wind direction with height. Let's take a quick radar tour. This is where we saw the severe weather yesterday, much quieter, but look at the showers that's really just kind of pinwheeling behind this system into parts of the Northeast. We're kind of wet here, but overall, though, down toward the cities, I think we're mostly dry. Just a few passing showers, kind of cloudy, and definitely much cooler, and that moves offshore. A little bit of a wider look here. Again, I tell you, you really need to watch parts of the Carolinas this afternoon. I talked a bit about that. Here heading into the evening hours, say 4, 5, 6 o'clock, even as far north, I think, potentially as Norfolk up towards the Chesapeake Bay, and then down into eastern North Carolina, Raleigh, Durham, all the way down to Darlington, South Carolina, Myrtle Beach, Charleston. Yeah, some of these storms could really pick up in intensity with some damaging winds. I don't know that we see much of a hail risk, but definitely some winds, and then that moves offshore, and then our attention turns back here to that system that will start to set up as we head into Tuesday. Now, Tuesday morning, what's left of the storms that fire today will be moving towards Indiana and Ohio, and then we'll get a second round of storms that start to form right in here as we move into Tuesday evening from Columbus all the way back into parts of Missouri, Indiana, and Illinois too. These storms could be strong as well with a few isolated tornadoes, especially again further back to the north, I think. This is the most recent NAM model. It's really trying to develop a cluster of thunderstorms, too, that moves into parts of Missouri and then down to the south. Here's a closer look at the storms across the Dakotas this morning and this afternoon, moving into Minnesota. A lot of these will lose their punch, but as we head into the afternoon, here come the storms really starting to pick up, say 6, 7 o'clock into the evening hours. So Minneapolis, St. Paul, and then even down into Iowa, we start to see these storms stretch out. Here's a closer look at the storms. Again, watch out here into Wisconsin tonight, into Iowa, even into parts of Minnesota. These storms could really pick up in intensity. And then as we move into tomorrow morning, look, we could be left with a thunderstorm complex that could continue to stay severe overnight with some damaging winds potentially on the table here into parts of northern Illinois, Iowa, even down into Indiana. I think by this point, things have weakened, though, by 7 a.m. And then again, as I said, as we head into Tuesday, there comes your second round of initiation of the storms into the afternoon. The severe weather isn't over. Heading into Wednesday, now we're looking further east. We're looking further south. The Northeast could be in for another round of severe weather from Pennsylvania into parts of New York. Something to keep an eye on for sure. Much cooler, though, if you're looking for some cooler weather. These are highs today. We may not get out of the 50s in some of the mountains up here, but 60s and 70s across the Northeast. Even into parts of Michigan, we may not get to 80 degrees, so much cooler here. Also into Ohio and Indiana, we're back into the upper 70s and low 80s, but the 90s are baking across the South and also across the central part of the country. In fact, look at these numbers into Kansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, triple-digit heat here, all the way up into Nebraska and Texas too, and across the desert Southwest. There will be some relief. I mentioned that just a moment ago, at least for parts of the northern plains as that front drops to the south, and also across the Pacific Northwest. So if you're looking to escape the heat, you can head up here into the mountains. Look at these low temperatures by Saturday morning. Into the mountains could be in the 30s and 40s. So if you're looking for a cool vacation, head to the Northwest. That's all I got, guys. If you've not subscribed, if you're here for the first time, thanks for coming by. Again, I'm Travis Roberts. I'm a former TV chief meteorologist, and I love forecasting. So if you like this kind of stuff, I hope you'll come back and consider subscribing. I'll see you next time right here.